like 2:05 in the morning and I can't sleep. My lashes look crazy because I've been crying all day. But it's my first YouTube video that I'll probably actually ever post with just me. But hey everyone, my name is Charlotte Marie and I have a PMDD diagnosis.
Welcome to the sleepover where we talk all the hot topics. Got my girls, we racking up on all knowledge. Relationships, love and fitness, battle of the sexes, and so much more. The sleepover where we talk all the hot topics. Got my girls, we racking up on all knowledge. So hop on a ride, take a seat, because you're in for a big treat. Welcome to the sleepover, yeah. Welcome to the sleepover, ooh. Welcome to the sleepover, ooh.
So, for those who don't know, PMDD is Pre-menstrual Dysphoric Disorder. I think the hardest part of having this diagnosis is that there's certain periods of the year, for me, because I'm on an IUD, I don't have regular periods anymore, but certain periods of the year where I'm just not myself, and it's damaged several relationships because my symptoms cause me to be someone I'm not generally. I'm generally a very happy and positive person and love people and I'm very empathetic. However, when I am going through my episode, it's really difficult for me to combat negative thoughts, and I constantly feel unloved and I feel alone. No matter if I'm in a room with 1,000 people there for me, I feel alone. And my reactions are extreme. And I've noticed what I tend to do is try to drink through it or party through it. And the drinking and the partying to try to distract myself usually ends up with me having like a full meltdown. I got the diagnosis, I want to say, in 2018, but it's taken me up until now. Today is like May 19th. 2022. So it's taken me time up until now to like process it. I think, I've been dealing with emotion dysregulation for a long time, but once I hit puberty, it had intensified to a level that if people really knew my inner thoughts would probably be quite scary to them. And I think people still don't know what to do with mental health just in general, and to have a diagnosis that isn't talked about a lot or understood or mistaken or perceived as just like PMS makes it difficult to talk to people about it. But also, I think it's just genuinely hard for people to understand what I'm going through. I'm a person who, I understand that I have so many amazing, beautiful things in my life. However, during these moments, it's so hard to like attach myself to them. I think the scariest part of it is the SI, and for those who don't know, that's like suicidal ideations. I might have to bleep out suicidal because of YouTube, but that's the scariest part. And that's the piece that sometimes for me is the most distressing, but also the hardest to talk to people about. I've gone through this so many times in life. I know I can get through it. And what I found to be the most helpful is being able to talk to someone and spill what's going on in here and getting support and them not looking at me like I'm crazy and still seeing me for a genuine, beautiful person. But also that spilling on to people can be a lot for them because we all are going through things.
Hello, my name is Melissa Ahmed. I have been friends with Charlotte for the past 10 or so years. We met in college.
Hi, I'm Brianna Panton. I am friends with Charlotte. We've been friends for the last about 10, 11 years. The most challenging aspect for me to understand would be how exactly should I handle anyone when they're going through PMDD. Like what would be the best way to help them and get them to wherever would make them feel more normal or better, or at least, be able to put some type of closure on the situation.
The most challenging aspect for me to understand is exactly what she is going through and how we can support her. Finding the right ways to be there for her in times of need is an uphill battle. We're all still trying to figure out exactly what it is that she needs and what kind of support we can give her. It has made our relationship tend to be difficult at times, but I also am very empathetic to what she's going through, so I'm wanting to explore with her and find out what she needs.
I mean, I'm not really too sure on what the, real definition of PMDD is, but using context clues, I would probably say her birthday was a good example of it, where it was like she was kind of like going through emotional circles on how she felt about the day, and it wasn't giving herself, it was just getting a little more emotional, and like she couldn't decide on her own how she wanted to feel.
2 days before my 30th birthday, I had an episode that completely tornadoed, it feels like tornadoed my life. I'm sure I'm still in the process of my episode. Today's Friday now, but I would say I started experiencing some anxiety maybe a week ago. And then Saturday, I started to feel just really down and sad. And the thing with me is that because I'm on an IUD, I really just spot. I don't really have full cycles, which also makes it difficult to track when my symptoms for PMDD might occur. But Saturday, I was feeling really down and sad, and I knew my birthday was coming up, so I was like, maybe I'm just getting the birthday blues, but I want to say I should have known, but there was no way for me to really know. But I was out with a friend, and they expressed to me, like, you're not being yourself. You're just super down, and you're sure you don't want to drink. And because of my experience 2 months prior when I was feeling really down, I was like, no, because also what can happen with me is I can become impulsive. And I don't even know if it's impulsivity, but my emotional reactions cause me to try to do anything to soothe them, whether that's calling an ex or cussing somebody out or spilling too much of my business, or it just causes me to do, when I pair the alcohol with my sadness, sometimes it just makes it far worse the next day. So I declined. And I could tell that made them uncomfortable because they aren't used to me in that space at all. I think generally my friends call me the party girl. Like, I love to just have a good time. Not even at a party, at a park, at a picnic, anything. I just really like to have a good time. So on Saturday too, I noticed there was like a increase in my appetite. Somewhat like, sometimes I have no appetite at all. Sometimes my appetite is super huge, or sometimes like I won't eat, but then when I eat, I just like overeat, right? So I went to bed Saturday, and I was just feeling really low and depressed and sad and isolated. And the next morning I woke up Sunday. It was time for me to get prepared for my birthday party. Sunday, I had a friend disappoint me, let's say. And it's my best friend. And so it wasn't looking back on it, I know she meant no harm, and she had other things to do. But in the moment for me, it felt like, again, someone else not caring about me. And so it really started, not her, it wasn't what she did. It was the thoughts that came from her needing to focus on herself, right? On a day that I had hoped would be special, and a day that I already knew I needed to pick me up. So I was really relying on like this day, right? So when she told me, hey, I can't stay at your birthday, I have to go, I started to have more negative thoughts about like, no one loves me, like I'm always going to be alone, and the people who are here, they're only here to check things off their list. They're not here because they really want to be here with me. Or the people who are here for a party, but not really here to love on me, and I really need to be loved on right now. And looking back on that, I know that wasn't true. And I had been so looking forward to my 30th birthday, because I thought as I entered this new age and stage in my life, I'd be able to like leave all of this behind me. So at this point Sunday, I had lost my appetite, so I hadn't eaten anything. And to cope and to try to like brighten my mood back up, I started to drink. And when I drank, the spiral just increased. I know people have described PMDD in different ways. I describe my experience when I'm like in this emotional dysregulation of like moving from the sadness to like rage. I call it like a spiral, or sadness to severe depression. I call it a spiral. I feel like I'm being flushed down a toilet. And I started lashing out at the people there, and not, this time I would say, not very, like, F you ways, but like, I expressed that I was really upset. I said, I was like, I'm pissed off. I'm fucking mad right now. They always do this to me. The they, to tell you all, there was no they. It was about one person at that point, and at that moment, one person felt like a million. And I didn't know how to stop the spiral at that time. So I knew I was in a funky mood. And so I was like, well, if I just say, hey, I'm upset right now and I need to get it out, I felt, to me, that was me asking for help. But the way it was received was me being disrespectful and ungrateful. It was ungrateful because, why I say it might have been ungrateful, it's because I wasn't showing gratitude to the people who were there, no. And it wasn't because I wasn't grateful they were there. It was because, and this might be hard for people to understand, I literally, in that moment, struggled to have the ability to show my gratitude. There was definitely the voices in my head that were like, Charlotte, these people are here for you. Charlotte, Charlotte, Charlotte. However, the thoughts of like, you're unlovable. The thoughts of things are never going to change. The thoughts of here we go again. The thoughts of, like, to be fair, like, you pour into people and don't get it back when you need it were so loud that it was hard for me to push through. So, and anything anyone did that was, like, not aligned with what I felt someone would do if they were excited to celebrate with someone felt like a personal attack and a dagger to me. And I had tried to call one of my friends and communicate to her what was going on, but everything she said felt like it was invalidating my experience. And I got frustrated and was really expressive and yelling and also tipsy at this point. I was doing this in front of people and hurt my best friend's feelings. And she's a beautiful person. I have two, so this is the other one. She's a beautiful person and I never want to hurt her. So I went back inside the party, and one of my friends, she reflected back to me on that event, and she said, like, you know, Charlotte, at first I just was like, well, damn, fuck me. Like, you don't care if I'm here if all these other people you wanted to be here weren't here. And then she was like, I remembered, or I realized that, like, Charlotte is normally a really grateful person, and she's normally very kind. And so at the party, she attempted to ask me what was going on. And as soon as she asked me if I was okay or what was going on, I just started spilling. And she said she stopped the conversation because she didn't want other people to see me cry and perceive me as weak. And so, but little does she know, her hug in that moment was one of the things that helped me move out of that moment. And her just saying, like, hey, I know you, where are you? Helped me kind of put in perspective. Another friend was like, Charlotte, I know you're upset. However, you don't want the people who are here to feel bad. That was another reset that I needed. But I hope you guys are hearing, at the time, I was finding it extremely difficult to do that reset for myself. If in my rational mind, not in my cycle, I would have been able to do that for myself. However, in that moment, the negative thoughts were so loud, I was unable to. And so for both of them to, like, look at me like, we know you, girl, come back in their ways, looking back on it feels very pivotal and, like, helping me to get it somewhat together. I saw someone else say in their video talking about it, like, I just need a hug sometimes and for someone to hear me. And that's exactly what I needed too. And I always tell my friends, like, I just need a hug. Like, the diagnosis that I have, I've been very embarrassed about. At times it makes me feel psychologically weak. I don't feel like myself. My PMDD diagnosis have impacted several relationships in my life in negative ways. And even as I enter 30 and I'm trying to own who I am and weed out the relationships that won't be supportive, it's difficult and embarrassing for me still to, like, come forward and be like, hey, like, I have this going on. I was talking to my mom and she was like, you're going to probably just have to disclose it to people. But for me, it's like, when? And is that the third date? Is that the seventh date? Or is that after I've been friends with someone for 2 months? How do I tell friends that I'm with now? And to be fair, on my process to telling people, I would say 50% of the responses have been supportive and 50% of them have not been. I have no desire to hurt people. I have no desire to be out of control of my emotions. And this is something that I deal with. And when I say hurt people, like with my words or with my mood. when I think about having kids, it scares me because I don't know how I'll manage the changes in my hormones. When I think about it potentially damaging more relationships in my life, it causes me to feel more hopeless. And I think the part that breaks my heart the most is that I know who I am, and in those moments where I'm having my episodes for that week or 2 weeks, I'm not the person I love, and it causes people to look at me differently and see me differently. So I mask a lot when I'm going through it. I mask a lot, and I smile through it, and I keep myself busy, and I go overextend for my friends. And I think I overextend for my friends a lot in hopes that if an episode comes, they'll give me the benefit of the doubt. Some of the most painful things for me are losing my friends. Some people have a hard time understanding that the pain that someone is going through physically and emotionally during the cycles, and so it's hard to support or provide empathy. PMDD is not something you see. It's not like I have this big cyst growing on my face where you can see when it's inflamed. I told my friend it's kind of like people being upset with me that I'm not walking as fast as them when I have a limp. I feel fragilized when I tell people sometimes too. I feel as though they take on a role of mother, and that's not what I need either. I know in my conscious, rational mind that I'm a strong person that has this challenge. However, sometimes when you share this challenge, especially one that talks about subjects that are somewhat taboo, like SI or menstrual cycles or women problems or depression, or I think anxiety and depression have gotten a little bit more common, but still in some cultures or social groups, it's still taboo. It's like, oh, I need to put you over there. Oh, you're a crazy one. Go over there. And so finding who I can tell and how to tell them is now my challenge. And some people do think I am using this probably to excuse my behaviors or to get people to not be mad at me. And it's not the case. It's at this point, I've had the diagnosis for 4 years, and I've been dealing with it in secret, and it's not working. So right now and I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. Please, in the comments, please share what you all have been doing. But I've been just trying to be open with the people who have longevity in my life and who I trust. And I have to mentally prepare myself for those who decide to exit my life because I have a mental health diagnosis. On the outside, it might look like, oh, she's got it together. Or, oh, you're a therapist and you're struggling. Yes, I am a therapist and I am struggling with this and knowing what to do and how to communicate about it and how to regulate through it. Because with the IUD, I don't have regular periods, so the tracking system isn't effective for me. And so it takes me being very aware of my body for me to know when it's coming, and I have not mastered that yet. I will say the things that have been most effective for me and helping me move through this have been exercise, therapy was helpful in that it didn't help stabilize my hormones, but it helped me think through ways I can respond to my emotions. It's helped me better be able to identify when a spiral or episode is coming. It's given me a space where I can spill. And it's helped me work on other issues, whether that's relationships with family or relationships or just work life, right? So it's helped me work on other things so that when I am having an episode, they will reduce in intensity and duration. Birth control really helped. And having friends who still see me as me and not as some crazy girl has helped. And my mother believing me when I tell her what I'm going through. I think with this diagnosis, at least in my experience, people don't believe you. And it's hard because it's like, I think we tell people, oh, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, talk to them about it. However, I don't think that's fully thought through all the way, because when someone does that and the response is negative, it can cause them to recoil. It can cause an increase in symptomology. It can cause increased depression, anxiety, isolation, shame, embarrassment. And I encourage people who are like, that's not my realm and I'm scared of it, maybe just saying that to someone and understand that you can't tell them what they need. For me, I would love to tell those girls who decided to isolate me in a response to my episode that maybe that isn't the most helpful way. And if you do decide like, hey, I need some boundaries and you're really concerned about a friend, please call someone for them. Whether that's their other friend that you know they really trust, or in some cases their mother or their parent or their caregiver. Or if it is in severe extreme situations and you're concerned that they may harm themselves or someone else, the paramedics, the hospital. Understand that we all have challenges, and just as much as we want empathy when we're going through things or make a misstep, we should also extend that. One of my friends, but again, everything is coming from my perspective, but I find value in telling your narrative. I think it's therapeutic, but I also think, and I hope that maybe it can help someone else in a time that they need it.